Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. When Genghis Khan is mentioned, most people immediately think of a resolute, brave, and great ruler. Indeed, his historical image is profound and widely known. According to historical records, Genghis Khan's real name was Borjigin Temujin. He was born on May 31, 1162, into the Mongol Qiang tribe, in the upper reaches of the Onan River in northern Mongolia. Temujin's father was Yasugei, the leader of the Mongol Qiang tribe, and his mother, Holan, came from the Huns tribe. Following the Mongol custom of wife-snatching, Yasugei took Holan as his wife in the autumn of 1161, during the 31st year of the Shaoxing era of the Song dynasty. The year Temujin was born, Yasugei captured the leader of the Tatars, Temujin Yuj, in battle. To celebrate his victory, he named his eldest son, Temujin, meaning the finest iron, symbolizing that Temujin would grow to be powerful and formidable. However, fate was not kind to Temujin. His father died early from poisoning, and Temujin was driven out of his homeland by hostile tribes. Forced into exile, he sought refuge with the Karait tribe. After a period of wandering and suffering, he began to rebuild his strength. In 1189, Temujin was elected as Khan of the Mongol Qiang tribe, and after many years of fighting, he gradually unified the various tribes of the Mongolian plateau. By 1204, he had completed the unification of the Mongol tribes, and in 1206, he officially declared himself emperor in the Onan River region, establishing the Great Mongol Empire. After founding the Great Mongol Empire, Genghis Khan implemented a strict administrative system, establishing the 1,000-household system and a personal guard, and issued the Genghis Khan Code, effectively governing the empire. Through constant military campaigns, he conquered vast territories of the Qing dynasty, destroyed the western Xia and western Liao, and defeated the Khwarezmian Empire in Central Asia. His conquests extended all the way to the Black Sea, with an expansion of territory that shocked the world. By the time Genghis Khan passed away in 1227, his empire spanned across both Asia and Europe, ruling over a vast, multi-ethnic empire. He died at the age of 66 from illness. At the time of his death, he had already planned the strategy for collaborating with the Song dynasty and eliminating the Qing dynasty. His body was secretly buried in the Qilian Valley. After his death, the Yuan dynasty was established and he was posthumously honored as the Emperor of Heavenly Mandate and Saintly Martial Authority, with the temple name Taizu. Thus, militarily, Genghis Khan built a disciplined and highly capable Mongol army. Politically, he created a massive empire that spanned across Asia and Europe and played a significant role in the formation of the Mongol nation. It can be said that Genghis Khan was not only a great military strategist but also an outstanding statesman. However, Genghis Khan was not without controversy. As a historical figure, he had some peculiar habits that were criticized by later generations. Especially his treatment of women, which became one of the reasons for his criticism in history. Nevertheless, if placed in today's context, these actions may not seem so unusual. According to historical records, Genghis Khan's harem included hundreds of beautiful concubines, which was not uncommon in ancient times. Emperors and nobles often practiced polygamy, and there were many beautiful women in their palaces. As a powerful figure, it was not surprising that Genghis Khan had many wives and concubines. However, Genghis Khan had a particular preference that caused immense suffering for the women of his time, which was his tendency to favor already married women. Many of the women in his harem were already wives or mothers. For Genghis Khan, this seemed to be a norm, but for the women, especially married ones, it was a great humiliation. In traditional Han Chinese society, once a woman married, she was expected to adhere to the ancient principle of follow the rooster when married to a rooster, follow the dog and married to a dog, remaining loyal to her husband for life. A woman's chastity and reputation were highly valued, and if a married woman was violated by an outsider, she would often be considered unclean, dishonored, and even abandoned. Genghis Khan's taking away of married women was undoubtedly a huge insult to them. As Genghis Khan waged wars across the land, he not only captured cities and territories but also eliminated many of the local men, capturing surviving women. Some of these women, especially the beautiful ones, were selected by Genghis Khan to become part of his harem. Women with weaker mentalities often suffered mental breakdowns. Those who managed to survive were often forced to leave their hometowns and even became war trophies, distributed among Genghis Khan's subordinates, living lives of suffering and torment. More cruelly, some of the women who were captured already had children. If their husbands were no longer alive, the children were almost certain to meet a tragic fate. Even though these women were unwilling in their hearts, considering their children, they had no choice but to submit to Genghis Khan's desires. Therefore, while Genghis Khan's harem was filled with beautiful women, for these women, being chosen was not a blessing. The suffering and humiliation they endured are beyond the imagination of many. Genghis Khan's obsession with these women brought immense pain and disgrace to women in ancient times, and this has been a topic of considerable controversy in history. In fact, Genghis Khan, this great emperor, had many beautiful women. However, what is particularly curious is why he had a particular fondness for married women. This may be closely related to his early experiences. Genghis Khan had a very difficult childhood. His father was persecuted by enemies at a young age, and his early life was filled with displacement and hardship. From a young age, Temujin, Genghis Khan, lacked the love and care of his parents, especially the warmth of his mother. This upbringing had a profound impact on his psychology. Although this tough childhood helped shape his resilient and courageous character, it also left psychological scars, leading him to yearn for more care and warmth as an adult. When Genghis Khan became the leader and rose to power, acquiring immense wealth and authority, his inner world grew even lonelier. It is often said that those who lacked love in their childhood tend to seek compensation for it in adulthood. This inner emptiness, due to the lack of maternal affection and care, might be one reason why he preferred more mature women, especially those who were already married. According to historical records, after reaching adulthood, Genghis Khan married his betrothed wife, Borte. She was a woman of strong character and calm demeanor, and they had a deep emotional foundation. She was his lifelong companion, his first love, and the woman he trusted the most. However, not long after Genghis Khan married Borte, his wife was captured by enemies. Genghis Khan made a tremendous effort to rescue her, but when he found her, she was already pregnant with the child of an enemy. This event dealt a severe blow to Genghis Khan and likely left a scar that never healed in his heart. One poem describes Genghis Khan as a peerless hero, only knowing how to bend the bow and shoot the eagle, which indicates that he was not greatly influenced by culture, but was driven more by a strong desire for battle and conquest. Perhaps his preference for married women stemmed, in part, from his desire for conquest and revenge. After all, someone had once taken his wife, and now he was taking other men's wives during his campaigns. This may have been his way of venting his frustrations and anger. Of course, these are merely speculative possibilities. Genghis Khan's inner world was complex, and as an emperor, his motives and actions were often inscrutable. The phenomenon of Genghis Khan's preference for married women may also be related to the nomadic culture and customs of the time. In nomadic societies, ethical constraints were not as strict as those in Central Plains culture. The environment in which nomadic peoples lived was harsh, their social structure relatively loose, and they often engaged in conflicts over resources and territory. In such an environment, both land and women could be acquired through capture. For nomadic people, women were not only members of the family but also seen more as a resource for fulfilling physical needs and procreation. Thus, women in their eyes were perhaps more like spoils of war and not bound by the same marriage ethics and moral constraints as in Central Plains culture. In this cultural context, a woman's beauty or marital status was not particularly emphasized. The key was whether she could be possessed as a resource. Additionally, nomadic peoples had a special custom known as levirate marriage, which meant that when a man passed away, his wife and concubines could be inherited by relatives. This custom was widespread among nomadic tribes, especially in environments with limited resources and sparse populations. This practice helped tribes maintain their population and ensure their continuation. The story of Wang Zhaojun, who successively married her first husband, her first husband's eldest son, and her second husband's second son, is an example of such a custom. The inheritance of marriage tradition was not considered improper in nomadic culture, rather, it was seen as a normal practice to ensure the survival and continuation of the tribe. According to some historians, Genghis Khan's preference for married women, when viewed from today's perspective, does not seem to pose any moral issue. In modern society, divorce and remarriage have become the norm, and everyone has the freedom to choose their own partner. However, the concept of marriage has changed over time. For the Han Chinese of that era, Genghis Khan's liking for married women was clearly a violation of the moral code, particularly his forcible capture of women, which was hard to accept. Nevertheless, setting aside his personal life, Genghis Khan remains an outstanding military strategist and statesman in history. His success was not solely due to his conquests, but also in his ability to integrate resources and build a powerful empire that spanned across the Eurasian continent in a rapidly changing historical context. Therefore, despite any controversies in his personal life, his achievements as a great ruler are etched in history for all time. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.